Alex Jankowski. And welcome to the first edition of PrepsBox Live. Now I know you have a ton of questions going on in your head right now. Why is it called PrepsBox Live when it's not live? Why is a newspaper man sitting in front of a camera? And who's that guy at all of my games with the iPad going like this? Well, basically the purpose of this show is to take you, the viewer, even further inside the world of high school sports here on the Central Coast. We'll use a 3-star segment to showcase athletes from around the county. We'll show highlights from the past week's game, and we'll have a weekly guest in the studio to talk about anything. Nothing's off the table. There'll also be plenty of laughs, nervous and intentional, along the way. Now let's get started with our 3-star segment. Our 3rd star of the week is Andrew Dan Mickelson of North County Christian Boys Basketball. Now his team finished only 3-12 overall, 0-10 in the Coast Valley League, but you just have to give it up for this kid. In his 2 losses this past week, he went out with a bang, averaging 45.5 points per game. He had 47 in the loss to Maricopa, 44 against Cuyama Valley, and he also had a double-double in both games, grabbing a total of 27 rebounds altogether. So congratulations to Andrew on being our 3rd star of the week. Our 2nd star, we moved to the pool, where sophomore Sarah Parson of the Arroyo Grande girls water polo team had an excellent week in helping the Eagles clinch their 12th straight league championship. We'll also have Coach Stephen Allen on later in the show to not only talk about Sarah's performance, but the team as it moves forward to the postseason. But recapping Sarah's week, she had 9 goals in 3 matches, including 7 in the first 2 against Paso Robles and San Luis Obispo, and then she had a pair in the championship win over Rigetti. So congratulations to Sarah on being our 2nd star of the week. Now our 1st star, we move back to the hard court, Brandon Jones of Mission Prep Boys Basketball. Now, when you think of a senior guard on the Royals, most tend to veer toward Quentin Adlish, and for good reason. I mean, anytime you have a triple-double with 50 points, you're going to demand a lot of attention. But Jones was the scoring catalyst in the last 2 games of the regular season as they clinched a share of the Pac-8 crown with a win over Rigetti and then won it outright by beating San Luis Obispo on Friday. Jones had 19 against Rigetti, including 10 in the 3rd quarter as Mission Prep pulled away, and then he followed that up with a game-high 20 points against the Tigers. Now Adlish is still going to draw the defensive focus of most teams as they start the playoffs, but it's a good sign for the Royals that players such as Jones are hitting their stride at the right time. So congrats to Brandon Jones on being our 1st star of the week. Now's the part of the show where we're going to go through our highlights from the previous week. We'll actually start with that game against, for Mission Prep against St. Rigetti. See, I told you some awkward laughs around the way. So Mission Prep played Rigetti on Wednesday. Boom, there, that's all you need to know. Let's get to the highlights. Rigetti actually jumped out to a 15-14 first quarter lead, but the Royals came back thanks to some good 3-point shooting. Here's Carter Gran off of a Walker block. And then Quentin Adlish strips Cameron Walker, the Stanford-bound senior on Rigetti, and comes back in transition to hit one of 2 threes in the 2nd quarter. Here's another 3 for Mission Prep at the end of the 1st half. Matthew Blaney hits it. Up 29-23 at halftime. Quentin Adlish got things going in the 3rd quarter with that steal and layup. Rigetti was able to keep it close here as Adlish gets the block, but Aaron Laughlin follows it up. But too much sharp shooting from the Royals as Carter Gran hits his 3rd 3 of the game in the corner, and Mission Prep went on to win 59-52. For the Arroyo Grande girls against St. Joseph on Friday, Megan Smith got things started with a jumper. Bryn Toming answered with a 3 on the very next possession. Here's Olivia Galindo with a pull-up. And Galindo with a steal and a layup as the Eagles scored 17 of the game's first 19 points. Sienna Ramirez tried all her best to keep St. Joe's in it, but it was too much Eagles here as Ashlyn Herlihy with a layup. Toming cuts to the basket and lays it in. And Jennifer Johnson hits a 4th quarter 3-pointer as the Eagles won easily 50-29. The Southern Section playoffs for all winter sports begin this week, and as has been the case for more than a decade, one girls water polo team in particular heads into the postseason not only with title aspirations, but championship expectations. As I said earlier, Arroyo Grande just wrapped up its 12th straight league title with its 119th consecutive league win over Rigetti this past Friday. The Eagles have won 3 straight CIF titles from 2008 to 2010 and have at least played in the semifinals every year since 2007. I'm joined now by the coach who has been poolside for all of this success,
Stephen Allen.
Stephen, thank you for stepping inside the Preps box.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. 119 wins, I guess I gotta start there because that's usually where everyone starts. When did this number start when did you start to realize that this number was getting as large as it was?
I think in the 60s and 70s it started to kind of take form where the newspapers started asking all the time what number we were on, and then 100 really is when it started to kind of become a big number. Mm-hmm. We've been fortunate to have some great success.
Yeah. Now, were you keeping track of it in your office? Because I have this image of you tallying it on your wall, and now you're like up on the ceiling somewhere.
Usually what happens is the newspaper will ask, and I'll say, I'll give you a call right back, and I have to go in my closet, find the shirt that has the year, and then count it all up and figure out where we're at. Mm-hmm. That's kind of, that 100-year shirt is the one that kind of keeps me track of what's going on.
Exactly. That's your start point.
No tally.
Now, back in 2003, that was the last time you guys suffered a loss against San Luis Obispo in the league semifinals. And, I mentioned earlier that you've been poolside for all of this success, because I remember you told me a story where you actually weren't poolside for all of that match, correct?
Right. So I was at my last class at Cal Poly, and I tried to get out as fast as I can. I knew the game was going to start, and I pretty much had to get to the class. It was one of those classes you couldn't miss. And so I remember showing up pretty late to the game. I think it was about halftime, and we were down a few goals, and the time before we beat San Luis fairly strongly, so I felt like I could go to class, and then that was the last time I ever made that mistake.
Yeah. So, things have worked out quite well since then.
Things have worked out well. The girls played really well the last few years.
I'm curious if there's any sort of tradition or steps that rituals you guys might take, year after year. Does everyone eat Wheaties for breakfast, or everyone's quoting John Wooden all the time? What's the atmosphere?
I think our atmosphere is we're going to train really hard, and in the long run, it's going to all pay off. I'm not really big on punishing kids for not showing up or something of that nature. I just know that the kids that are there are getting better than the ones that aren't. Mm-hmm. And really creates this great competitive atmosphere at practice. Mm-hmm.
21-5 is your overall record this year. You're coming in as the #1 seed in the Division III bracket. What is it about this team that stands out to you, or maybe sets them apart from teams of the past?
I think this team is probably one of the strongest teams I've ever had, if not the strongest. We've got people in every single spot that you need, from a 2-meter man or 2-meter woman, and then we got goalie play, we got center defenders, we've got everything you need to win a title. So we're really excited about that. We're young, and hopefully we can get through those young moments and keep battling and hopefully win a game when it counts. Mm-hmm.
Earlier in the show, we highlighted Sarah Parson during our 3-star segment, and she's only a sophomore, but you got players, you got seniors like Rebecca Hernandez, Isabella Manuel.
Absolutely.
Juniors, Kate Empey, Arden Taylor. Where are all these players coming from? The Arroyo Grande Water Polo Club? Are you plucking them out of the hallways?
A lot of them are sisters of former players, and then we just kind of start them through youth polo. Youth polo, trying to get as many goals as we can in the program and make them play wherever we can. I think that we've got a girl coming in next year that's going to be very strong for us again. So the future's bright for us.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for joining us. Like I told you viewers, they'll be hosting Flint Ridge Sacred Heart on Wednesday at 3:30. Hopefully they'll have another home game. If not, they'll be down at the Woolite Center if they continue on in the playoffs. So, Coach, thanks for stopping by, and thank you to the viewers for checking in to the PrepsBox Live for the first episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for our show. Be sure to use the hashtag PrepsBoxLive on Twitter to let us know what you think. I'm Alex Jankowski, and thanks for stepping in the Preps Box.